Alright, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alright, inshallah, today we're going to continue on chapter 2, Prenatal Development. Alright, in this topic, we're going to discuss about the biological begins. So, how's the living things begin? So, we're going to talk specifically about human. Alright. Okay, genetic foundation of development. So there are three things we're going to discuss. The first one is chromosome, and then DNA, and secondly, genes. So basically, what is chromosome? Chromosome is a thread-like structure that come in 23 pairs. So 23 pairs equivalent to 46 chromosome. So there will be a 46 chromosome. So it means for one cell, which is ovum, they have a 46 ovum, a 46 chromosome, and for sperm they will have 46 chromosome, and then when they divide it, so they will divide half of the chromosome combined with another half of sperm chromosome. So that's why they have varieties of genes. Okay, before we go into that, let us discuss chromosome first. So chromosome basically in one cell they have 23 pairs. Okay, and then one members of each pair coming from each parents. Okay, so means from father and mother, it will combine each chromosome to become pair. So it means one pair, so it means there will be two chromosomes. So one chromosome from mother, one chromosome from father. And then this chromosome contain DNA. So inside chromosome, they have DNA. Alright, so that's all about chromosome. A combination of chromosome, right? So DNA, basically, what is DNA? So DNA, a complex molecule that contain genetic information. A complex molecule that contains genetic information. So what is genetic? Inheritance. Inheritance information. For example, the father. We'll just take one example of physical inheritance. For example, the father has a straight hair. So the DNA carried the information of straight hair. If the father skin color is black, for example, dark, so inside the DNA they will have information of the dark color skin. And then if the mother is fair skin color, so actually that fair skin color inside the DNA, that information. So DNA basically, simple understanding, is contain a genetic information. So anything related to one person can be found in DNA. So basically DNA store information about one person. For example, me, so anything related to me biologically, it can be found inside the DNA. That's why when we couldn't know who's the father of that baby, who's the mother of that baby, in order to know basically who's belong, which parents actually refer to that baby, we check the DNA of the baby. And the next, genes. So genes is a unit of hereditary information composed of DNA. Direct cells to reproduce themselves and manufacture protein that maintain life. So genes is an information, right? In Malay we call it genetic. So genes is a unit that store the information that can be passed through, right? So basically, this is chromosome, DNA, and genes. So we move to the next. All right, the activity of genes is affected by the environment. That's number one. Number two, hormones that circulate in blood make their way into the cell where they can turn genes on or turn genes off. That hormone. And then number three, the flow of hormones can be affected environmental conditions such as light, day length, nutrition, and behavior. So this is about genes. All right, let us discuss the connection or relation genes and chromosome. Okay, so there are two processes happened for the cell. Cell is single unit, right? So the first one is mitosis process, and secondly is meiosis process. So basically, mitosis refer to reproduce cell, create a new cell that called mitosis in Malay, or in English we call it mitosis. Okay, the cell nucleus include chromosome, duplicate itself, and the cell divide. So in each or every cell, they have nucleus, right? So that nucleus, which is contain chromosome, right? And that chromosome duplicate itself, and then the cell divided. Two new cells are formed, each contain the same DNA and the original cells. So basically, new cells, right, mitosis will produce the exact cells. When a mitosis process is a duplication process, it will duplicate. From one cell become two cells, and then from two cells become 4 cells. From 4 cells become 8 cells. And then each cells which duplicated will carry the same characters, the same information, the same DNA from the first cell. So that is mitosis. Okay, next, meiosis. Meiosis is different than mitosis. Even though they have a process of division, but the information of the division of cells is different. Okay, meiosis, type of cell division that form eggs and sperms. A cell of sperm or ovaries duplicate its chromosome, then divides twice, thus forming 4 cells. Each has only half of the genetic materials of the parent cell. Each sperm and egg have 23 unpaired chromosomes. Okay, so meiosis actually happen in gamete cell. What is gamete cell? Gamete cell refer to reproduction cell. So gamete cell for male, we call it sperm. Gamete cell for female, we call it ovum. So ovum and sperm will go through the process of meiosis. So meiosis process means a division of cells. So chromosome inside the ovum and chromosome inside the sperm will exchange, or in Malay they call it the process of pindah silang. So each chromosome or DNA from ovum and DNA from chromosome from sperm will pair. Means the division of the cells will be different because they will exchange. Means they will pair. Each chromosome, each pair of chromosome will consist of DNA from ovum as well as DNA from sperm. DNA from father and DNA from mother. So that basically the mitosis and meiosis process. Okay, genes and chromosome. An egg and sperm fuse to create a single cell called a zygote. Whenever an egg or ovum and sperm fuse to create a single cell, it is called zygote. When it is fertilized, the fertilization process will create a zygote. And then each parent contribute half of the offspring genetic materials. So in the beginning, sperm have 23 pairs, equivalent to 46 chromosome, and ovum also 46 chromosome. Whenever both gamete cell fertilize, it will contribute to a new cell half of the ovum materials and half of the sperm materials. So the combination will produce zygote in zygote. So zygote have 23 unpaired chromosome from eggs and 23 unpaired chromosome from the sperm. So then become one set of combination. They have a new cells, new 23 paired chromosome. So you can look at this illustration. Mother have 23 chromosome, father have a 23 chromosome, and then fertilize, become a zygote. So zygote is a new cells combined by ovum and sperm become 23, a new cell. So this new cell, we call it zygote. And the zygote will grow and become an embryo. So this embryo have a 46 chromosome or 23 pairs combination from mother and father. Okay. All right, genetic differences. Female consists of 2 chromosomes called XX. So how do we know that, or how do we get the sexual of the baby or the gender of the baby? If the baby is female, means the genetic is XX. Right? for female, for male, the chromosome called XY. So it's on the 23rd pair chromosome. Actually determine the sex of the baby. The presence of Y chromosome is what makes the individual male. Right? Okay, the source of variability. So variability means which make the children's differences. Not really look like a father, not really look like a mother. Or they have a combination. Some part look like a mother, some part look like a father. So that's we call it variability. Alright, chromosomes in the zygote are not exact copies of those ovaries and sperm. During formation of the eggs and sperm, the members of chromosome are separated. But which one in the pair goes to the gamete is matter of choice. We wouldn't know which one, all right, will be goes to the gamete. And then when chromosomes from eggs and sperm are brought together in the result, resulting a truly unique combination of genes. Okay, that make uh, the source of variability. Okay, there are situations whenever we see there are identical twin and fraternal twin. So identical twin means there are two babies who look exactly the same. The face, their looks is the same. So that's why we call it identical twin. Fraternal twins, there are twin means they're born together but they looks differently. Okay, so identical, the gender is the same, the looks is the same. Fraternal can be the gender is different, the looks also different. So what makes these things happen? So basically, identical twins develop from a single zygote that is split into two genetically identical replicates. Each have become a person. Actually, it's from single zygote, and then that zygote split into two, become two babies. Whereby fraternal twins develop from separation of eggs and separation of sperm. Means they have two of them, and then two of them fertilized by two sperm. So means they have two different babies, two different varieties of sauce. So different sauce. So same sauce, which the same cells will result identical twin. But different sauce means different ovum and different sperm will create fraternal twins. Okay, next, genotype and phenotype. So genotype, a person's genetic heritage, the actual genetic materials. Phenotype, the way an individual genotype is expressed in the observed and measurable characteristic. So that pheno. Genotype refer to genes. Alright? Phenotype refer to what been expressed, what can be observed, what can be measured characteristically. Alright, this is illustration of stages of prenatal development. So germinal stage, right? Germinal stage means there are, instead of cells, congealed blood. And then embryonic stage, which they have features look like human, but it not completed. We couldn't identify the hands, the legs. It's still in a state of embryonic. But when come to fetal stage, the looks or the features is already like a human being. So basically there are three stages: germinal stage, embryonic stage, and fetal stage. So the duration is 0 to 2 weeks, germinal stage. Embryonic, 3 to 8 weeks, equivalent to 2 months, right? And then 9 weeks to birth. That we call it fetal stage. All right, the germinal period. A germinal period, the group of cell, and then embryo and trophoblast. Okay, and then a germinal stage also is a process of implantation. Implantation means the cell or the embryo attached to the uterine wall. Uterine wall means uterus wall. It's not on fallopian tube. So uterine wall or uterus wall, whereby is the exactly the place whereby the baby will grow. So it need to be implanted or attached on that place. So normally it takes place about 11 to 15 days after conception. So germinal period also is include the creation of the fertilized egg zygote, cell division, and the attachment of zygote to the uterine wall. And then take place in the first 2 weeks after conception. Mitosis continues throughout this period. And then blastocyst is the inner layer of the cell that developed during the germinal period, later develop into embryo. Trophoblast, the outer layer of the cells that develop in germinal period, provide nutrition and support to the embryo. Okay, basically, this is all during the germinal period. So, after this stage, we call it the embryonic period. Embryonic period occurs from 2 to 8 weeks after conception. The rate of the cell differentiation intensifies. Means the cell's differentiation intensifies, means getting stronger or getting increased. And then support system for the cells form and organ appears. So the organs begin to appear. What organs? For example, respiratory organs, digestive organs. So this period begins as the blastocyst attached to the uterine wall, mass of cell embryo. And then 3 layers of cell form. So what is that 3 layers? First we have embryo, endoderm, and then mesoderm, and then ectoderm. Embryo cells, endoderms, the inner layer cell. So basically, what is endoderm? Refer to inner layer. Mesoderm refer to middle layer. Ectoderm refer to outer layer. So each layer will develop certain organ or system. So inner layer, right? Okay, look at inner layer. The most inner layer cell will develop into digestive system and then produce also internal body part, whereby the mesoderm or the middle layer will become circulatory system, will become a bones, will become a muscle, will become excretory system, executory system, will become a reproductive system. So produce part that surround the internal areas. And then ectoderm, the most outer layer, will become the nervous system, the nerve system, the brain, the sensory receptors, and the skin part. And then produce surface part. So basically, endoderm produce internal part, mesoderm produce part that surrounded the internal part, ectoderm produce surface part. So it looked like the stage, embryonic stage. Later on we will see the picture. What does it look, the embryo? Okay, next is the life support system, amnion, the umbilical cord, and placenta. Okay, so what is amnion? Bag or envelope contain fluid, developing embryo fluids. Amniotic fluids provide an environment that is temperature, humidity control, and shock proof. Water bag. So where the baby safe inside this amnion. A shield, like a home, like a balloon. So this we call it amnion. And then another life support system is called umbilical cord. Where is umbilical cord? Contain 2 arteries and 1 vein. It connect baby to the placenta. They have like a cable. The cable which connected the baby to the placenta, they call umbilical cord. And then placenta. Placenta consists of the disc-shaped group of tissues in which small blood vessels from mom intertwine but not join. Okay, small molecules like oxygen, water, salt, food from the mother, and bloods and digestive waste pass back and forth between mother and embryo or fetus. Large molecules cannot pass through the placenta wall. Include red blood cell and harmful substances such as bacteria, maternal waste. So there are small molecules and large molecules inside the mom's body. But placenta wall, so the placenta actually become a filtration. Only small molecules can be passed through. A large molecule cannot pass through. Okay, the next one is organogenesis, a process of organ formation during the first month. The moment the organs been formed, that process we call it organogenesis, the process of formation of the organ. So the 3rd week of the conception, neural tube become the spinal cord forms. At 21 days, eyes begin to appear. On the 3rd week, it's very small. So the neural tube become a spinal cord, right, inside the vertebrae. And then at 24 days, cells for the heart begin to differentiate. Cells for the heart differentiate. So the organ of heart. And then on the 4th week, the urogenital system become apparent. Arm and legs buds emerge. 4 chambers of the heart take shape. Block and vessel appear. So this is what happened. The organs develop during the 4th week. And then from the 5th to 8th week, arm and legs differentiation further and face start to form but not recognizable. The looks start to form. The arm and the leg start to form on the 5th to 8th week. And then it continues, the fetal period. Lasting about the 7 months, the prenatal period between 2 months after conception and birth in the typical pregnancies. So the first trimester, there are 2 stages. The first trimester, the second trimester, the third trimester. Trimester refer to 3 months. The first 3 months, we call it the first trimester. The second trimester means the second 3 months. The third trimester refer to the third 3 months. So there are different development happen during each stages. Okay, on the first trimester, conception to 4 weeks. Right, less than 1 to 10 inch long zygote. It's very small. Beginning develops spinal cord, nervous system, heart and lungs, amniotic sacs envelopes, the preliminary tissues of entire body, and then 8 weeks on this, following the second month, over 1 inch long called embryo face is formed with the rudimentary eyes, ears, mouth, toes, but brain and form. Fetal heartbeat is detachable, and then arms and leg moving. On the 3rd month, about 13 inch called fetus, they start to look like a baby. They have looks and features of the baby. We call it fetus. Long and weight short, long weight about 1 ounce. Sac is distinguishable. We're able to see the sex, the gender of the baby during this 3rd month. Can move arm. They start to move their arm, their legs and fingers, toes. Fingerprint present. Can urinate. Can smile. They can start to suck and swallow. So this is during the 3rd month. Again, and then the second trimester, right? A 4th week. Okay, is about 6 inch. Grow becomes 6 inch, and the long and weight about 4 to 7 ounces. Heartbeat is strong. Whenever doctor check the heartbeat of the baby, it can be heard. And then skin is thin and transparent. Downy hairs covers body. And then fingernails, toenail are forming, able to roll in the amniotic fluid. And so they keep moving like a swimming inside the balloon, or we call it amniotic fluid. And then on the 5th month, it's about 12 inches growing, and then the weight can close to 1 pound. The heartbeat is audible, and with ordinary stethoscope. And then suck thumb, hiccup. So at the 1st month, hair, eyelashes, and eyebrow are present. On the 6th month, it's about 14 inches grow, and then the weight can grow up to 1.5 pounds. Skin is wrinkled and covered with a protective coating. Eyes are open, has strong grip, waist matter is collected in bowel. And then on the last trimester, the last 3 months, okay, on the 7th month, is about 16 inches long, weight about 3 pounds. It's adding body fatty and active. Rudimentary breathing and movement are present. And then on the 8 months, he can grow up to 16 inches or 18 inches. And then the weight 4 to 5 pounds, has periods of sleep and wakefulness, respond to sound, may assume the birth position, okay, whether it is bridge or normal position. Bones of the head are soft and flexible. Iron is being stored in liver. And on the last month before the baby is born, it's 9 to 20 inches long and weight up to 6 to 7.5 pounds. Skin is less wrinkled, it's less active because it's become bigger. So the space is very small. So that's why they couldn't move much. So that's why it's become less active. It's gaining immunities from the mother. So the immunity system passed through the baby from the mother. And then after that, birth process. Okay, so basically that is the prenatal period. Prenatal period means we discuss or study from the single cell until the cell develop and grow, become a fetus. It takes up to 9 months or 36 or 38 weeks. Okay, that's all. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.